Okay, well, thank you for all the people who are still there. It's been a long day after 2 other long days. So I'm happy to welcome you to this closing session. And I thank you very much for staying here and supporting us. Uh, we can give you a few figures. So in the end, we had 534 registered people, which is really huge. In the real life, we had between 120 and 190 people attending in real the plenaries, and between 1,500 in the focus groups. So from our point of view, it's a big success. So it's also been a really great experience for us to organize that event as a webinar. Not so easy, and we really hope that you enjoyed it. And we happy we did not experience too many technical problems. Apparently, one just happened 10 minutes ago. Well, too bad. Nope. I wanted to make a short topic about the pasta lounges. This was really a first try. So you can see here pictures our photographer have been taken in the different rooms, which were named from the European treaties and Robert Schuman also. So we hope you have enjoyed that, and many thanks for the authors of the videos who have been accepting to experiment that were really new concept. So we don't want to lose everything. We don't want that this event be lost now. So we are going to continue working on with the EMP-E 2020 so that we can offer the community a wide range of material. So first, all sessions have been registered. Hopefully we didn't lose too much of the last sessions with the technical problem. So we're going to do a bit of cleaning and checks with speakers, and then all the sessions will be published on YouTube. So for those who didn't attend, they can watch them. We are also going to publish most of the presentations on our website after our authors have checked them. All the session organizers, they have started working on summaries of each sessions, including the outputs of the subgroups. So you will hear a summary in a few minutes, which will be given by Ingeborg. And finally, there have been lots of questions in the Slidos for every session, and there was no time to answer all of them. So we know it may be frustrating both for speakers and for attendees. So we are going to send the questions to the speakers, ask them to answer and publish the answers in the coming weeks. Yep. So as you know, EMP-E now is a yearly event. So this was EMP-E 2020, and there will be an EMP-E 2021. So thank you for your support, thanks to the support of the European Commission. So this year it was organized under the lead of the Open Entrance project, and next year it should be led by the Sentinel project. And we also foresee that in the following years, organizing EMP-E will remain as a deliverable for future Edge 2020 or Horizon Europe projects. So in advance, thank you to the officers there. I see Manuela smiling. So EMP-E 2021 starts today. There is a new Slido questionnaire. You can join it, choose select a closing session, join at slido.com as usual. And there is a survey that has been designed by the Sentinel project. You can start answering during the presentation that will be given just in 1 minute by Ingeborg. And after that, Diana Susser and Stefan Pfenniger from Sentinel will show the results and organize a first discussion. So now I'm happy to introduce Ingeborg Rabak, the coordinator of the Open Entrance project, who will give you a short wrap-up of what happened in the last 3 days. Thank you very much to the session organizers who did send us the main messages. So Ingeborg, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sandrine. I'm going to, as Sandrine said, to wrap up this event. And I have done this the way that I have asked each of the sessions to give me one slide with the main, with the highlights from their session. So this is each session's summary of their own session. So we started this conference with the two presentations from the Commission, and Joren Schappers, he highlighted three important aspects for the clean energy transition. He asked for more system thinking, was one of the things he mentioned. The other was that innovation is not only technology, but also people, planet, and prosperity. And he said that the clean energy transition will increase emissions from materials. He said that this system, that energy modeling is important for the system thinking, his first aspect. And I think in this way, Joren gave us a very good motivation for EMP-E 2020. The highlights from plenary 1, impact of COVID-19 on the energy system. What are the consequences for the future energy system modeling? And we saw presentations with about a large reduction in energy use during the pandemic. This is, of course, related to reduced economic activity, that people stay at home and work from home and travel less. In France, we saw a different energy world with lower demand, lower prices, even negative prices, and fewer emissions. And I suppose this is relevant for most countries. Special for France was that the nuclear system has been able, or the nuclear production has been able to balance variable wind and solar production the last months. Some key questions from this session is how will the pandemic impact the economy and the ability to invest in sustainable energy? And furthermore, besides in transportation, what other structures of energy demand might change in long term? We see changes in transportation, but will there be other structural changes as well? Going to plenary 2, climate neutral pathways, scenarios and storylines. There was a survey before this session, and the stakeholder survey expect large-scale hydrogen and CCS applications in Europe, but not before 2040. A majority of them also expect maximum 5 to 10 new nuclear plants by 2050. And climate neutrality also expects mix of technologies, measures, and behavioral changes. There was a presentation of different studies that showed similar trends and confirm the climate neutrality feasibility by 2050. Those studies were from Primes, Genesis Mod, the Navigate project, and the civil society scenarios. And some key insights from those studies were consensus on non-regret options, strong electrification of the energy system, and that carbon pricing is crucial. Some key discussion points were open source models data, forum to coordinate pathway assumptions and results, methods for quantifying storylines, biofuels and land use, calibration of lifestyle changes, and modeling of socioeconomic drivers. And some main topics discussed to improve energy system models, and then better support policymaking was more focus on behavioral and lifestyle changes, the transport sector, circular economy, and linking interface energy system and climate modeling. Going to focus group 1, climate neutrality, energy modeling, weather and climate. And this group focus on challenges with high resolution energy models. Because challenges with high resolution energy models is handling the increasing model complexity resulting from ever increasing weather climate data volume. And you can see it on the figure to the right. All the climate data is arriving. It's a huge amount of data, and the red arrow on the figure points to the energy system model where all this data is going to be put in. And there is the group also discussed that there is a growing number of weather and climate data services for energy applications. They particularly focused on the Copernicus Climate Change Service, which is adding to existing data sets like MHIRES and renewables.ninja. And critical issues at the energy weather climate boundary is that better access to climate data is necessary but not sufficient for energy modelers. There are many non-trivial challenges in actual using this data. For example, sampling, bias and deficiencies in reanalysis and climate data sets, understanding which models have skills in what areas, uncertainty quantifications, etc. Then going to the next focus group, circularity and use of raw material. And it's likely that the transition to low carbon EU economy leads to critical raw material dependent economy. Because the low carbon technologies are limited material resources. And as the EU increases the deployment of low carbon technologies, it's likely that it becomes dependent on the materials needed for such technologies. And since EU is a net importer of many of these materials, use a low carbon EU economy is likely to be dependent on external resources or key raw materials. And on the figure to the right, you can see countries accounting for the largest share of global supply of critical raw materials. There is also a need of data in a formalized format, which could be used by energy system models, because most of the available data now are in reports and in scientific papers and not usable by energy system models. And it takes a lot of time to gather and to validate and to formalize such data. The group also pointed to the need for a joint effort from academia and policymakers to build more useful models. And this was mainly a question about or a dialogue between the academia and the policymakers. Going to the plenary tree, socioeconomic and socio and economic impacts of the transition. They had a survey before this session, and the stakeholders in participating in this survey demands for better integration of economic and especially social impacts of the transition. And key transition impacts addressed within this session included social drivers and constraints, effects on inequality, and employment effects, ranging from European to regional perspectives. Some key discussion points were importance of sound approaches, issues to tackle socioeconomic dynamics, closer collaboration between social science and modelers to bring things forward. And on the right-hand side, you can see the highlights from two surveys, I think very ongoing during the sessions, where main topic decision makers want to see about main topics decision makers want to see addressed by modelers in the light of the EU Green Deal. And you see highlighted impact on growth, social justice, and lifestyle changes. And it was also a survey about key modeling challenges to integrate social aspect more, and it was highlighted data availability and way of integration. So going to plenary 4, sector integration, decarbonization to multi-energy carrier. From this group, they highlighted that multi-energy system can act as both generators and consumers of electricity and allow for exploration of the synergies between the different energy networks. They had a focus on district heating system, integrating large-scale heat pumps as a key technology for enabling cost-efficient sector integration. Especially, they pointed to the importance in at local level and in rural areas. They said that consumers are fundamental to the energy transition, and energy communities are increasingly becoming an important actor in the energy system. They also point to mobility as an increasingly important topic. Big changes are coming. We need price signals and an integrated approach to avoid overinvestment. They also said that cooperation on European level and between actors are essential. And they showed results from a cost-optimized scenario study for Europe, and that study showed that 90% CO2 emission reduction is achievable within today's available technologies if the full potential of sector integration and pan-European cooperation is realized. Going to focus group 3, which was about consumer and citizen engagement. And this group was very much focused on agent-based modeling. And they had a survey before this session, and the responders, or a majority of the responders to this survey, said that agent-based models can and should be linked to energy system models. And you can see the results to the right in the slide. However, one of the presenters said that agent-based models are most useful for exploring possible alternate realities within a well-defined context and less well-suited for prediction. And another one said that agent-based models are designed for specific problems within specific geographics, and taking a given model outside these bounds is not yet feasible, which is a barrier to linking agent-based models with energy system models. The group also discussed that, or this session also discussed that linking agent-based models and energy system models is not yet done. And the group discussed if it's possible and how it can be done. So this is a bit in the opposite, or it's in opposite to the responses to the survey before the session. Going to focus group 4, smart cities, smart grids, and digitalisation. This group was about, among other, multi-energy systems, and they said that there is no standardization in Europe regarding multi-energy systems. And this is a big issue for replication of very sophisticated tools, which have to face with very low level of functionality, but be tailored to different regulation systems. They also discussed renewables and flexibility resources in the cities, and they particularly focused on the industry customers, both for deployment of renewables and for flexibility. Because the demand of industries are easier to predict than residential users, but of course there is also more diversity between the different industry customers. They also discussed electrification of transportation at city levels, and they said that it's necessary to properly define EVs and investigate the barriers and enablers for EVs. They also discussed evolution of the role of distribution system operators, particularly related to flexibility and storage in the distribution grid, and they discussed the roles and responsibilities in this context for DSOs and TSOs. And they said that regulatory aspects is a key, whatever new mechanisms are to be put in place. Focus group 5 was about infrastructure for integrating models to facilitate openness and transparency. And it was in the beginning of the session, it was a presentation by 4 projects. You see the logos at the bottom of the slide, the Open Energy Platform, Sentinel, Spine, and Open Entrance. And this presentation was focusing on the complementary aspects of these 4 ongoing projects about data models, ontologies, workflows, visualization of data, and database frameworks. And there were some insights from 2 breakout groups. Parallel data models will be required given the breadth of domains and user cases for use cases. Limitation of the same high-level standards. Implementation of the same high-level standards can lead to incompatible data formats. They also pointed to limited scope for harmonization for processing of raw source data as model input, but substantial potential for collaboration on visualization and processing of results. And a key challenge they pointed to was do not repeat the curse of the 1,000 parallel solutions. Focus group 6, how can energy modeling tools contribute to national energy and climate plans? We had a presentation from the Commission, and it seems to be more or less a continuous process to develop national energy and climate plans. We have, the plans now will have to be updated. There will be new plans for the 2030s and 2040s, and maybe also, or probably the models will have to be updated if the target for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions are now made more ambitious as a consequence of the recently decision in the European Parliament about target of 60%. From the Commission, there are formal requirements to these plans, and about half of the formal requirements are about an analytic foundation for the plans. We saw a very structured approach for development of the plan in Spain, and you see an overview of the models to the right in this figure. And we also got a presentation of 7 tools of a different character, and these tools can be used for development and assessment of national energy and climate plans. Focus group 7 was about the transformation of the energy system, centralization versus decentralization. And decentralization is a major trend of energy system because it allows to support acceptance and active participation of communities in the energy transition. And this is essential to be able to exploit the whole potential of local flexibilities, such as variable renewable potential, multi-sector coupling, and demand-side management. And crude decentralization could induce inefficiencies in both operation and investment decision. Some coordination mechanisms are required both at the operation and investment level to recover efficiency. And investment is a key challenge that is difficult to organize efficiently in a decentralized way. Many techniques have been tried without success, like subsidized capacity markets, CO2 markets, and auction mechanisms. But modeling tools seems to be essential to assess various mechanism designs and propose new relevant coordination schemes. And finally then, the last group, I haven't had time to read through this slide because this session was finalized just before we started. But focus group 8 was about uncertainty and modeling, lessons learned and gaps. And they say that planning under uncertainty optimization frameworks are fundamental for identifying identifying openings for strategic action. And capturing short-term uncertainty is crucial for long-term energy planning. In this case, statistical properties and correlation matters more than the predictive power when describing this uncertainty. And flexibility investment, effective dealing with large uncertainty. More efficient computational and decomposition was pointed to by this group. No, more efficient computational and decomposition algorithms still need to be further developed to deal with a huge increase in the size of optimization problems, factoring in uncertainty. And to the right, I suppose you see a figure from the EMP-E model, which was presented in this session. So this was a wrap-up, or a short wrap-up of each of the sessions. Before I end, I will use just a few minutes to say a few words about the organization. As the coordinator of Open Entrance, which is the main responsible project for this event, I want to thank the Open Entrance team for all they have done, and also the 7 other collaborating projects, Horizon 2020 projects, for everything they have done to make this event possible. And also thank you very much to the Commission for participating both in the planning and in the event when it was ongoing. Sandrine Caruset from EDF has been the main responsible for this event, and I don't know anyone who could have done this better than she has done it. So thank you very much to Sandrine. Also thank you to Saminder Carey from World Future Council. She has been responsible for the communication platform and for all the logistics, and this has mainly worked very well, I think. And finally, Hans Auer from TU Vienna has been and is responsible for the scientific publication or the evaluation of the scientific publication from the event. So also thank you very much to him. So then I just will say good luck to Sentinel with the next year event, and Open Entrance will be happy to join you in the group of project for making EMP-E 2021 possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ingeborg. I will now leave the floor to Hans Auer, who will who was the main responsible for all the poster selection. So Hans, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Sandrine. So yeah, on the one hand, we invited poster videos. So this was a novelty also of this online event. So, and I think a great opportunity and success also for the authors. And in addition to that, now in the next few minutes, I want to briefly outline that also the at least a few of the highlights having presented in the last 3 days. So from the plenary sessions, the focus groups, and also the video posters, that they will be published in a special issue dedicated to this EMP-E conference. So therefore, so in the next 2-3 weeks, so first we, the guest editors and the selection group, so we'll sit together, develop a long list about, let's say, the most interesting. So there have been many interesting contributions at this conference, and I apologize already at this point if we can't include several of these contributions to this special issue, although we'd love to do so. So we'll think about a long list, and then of course it's important that it's original research to be considered for publication, and so this is the first condition. And on the other hand, the time schedule rather is tight, so we would expect the full-length paper then already until the end of this year, finally to meet the timeline of the journal. So this year energy from Elsevier has been chosen to meet this timeline to achieve publication before, let's say, the summer break next year. And of course, the publications will be made available fully open access. With finally the chosen contributions in this special issue, we want to clearly reflect the responsibility of us modelers and researchers that with our contributions we want to support policy making at different scales with our, let's say, consolidated results, that we address the energy and transport, or in general the systems. And I think we already have seen that we are already working closer together, the energy and the climate modeling community. So this is very important that contributions are published showing this. And of course, the additional challenge is to better integrate the socioeconomic and social sciences into our work. Then also the very important upcoming issues like the circular economy, material footprints, and so on. And of course, those contributions finally using some kind of open source models, data, platforms, of course, they are also, of course, among the favorites. As I said, so we'll get in touch with the potential papers of the long list in the next 2-3 weeks. And then, so hopefully until the end of the year, the full-length papers are submitted, and then the notification and hopefully acceptance of the papers based on a review process lasts until, let's say, April 2021 or so, and then hopefully we can publish it before the summer break next year. So the guest editor team is already looking forward to receive excellent papers. And in addition to that, so maybe just two personal thoughts from my side as some kind of brainstorming. Maybe we also could discuss next year at EMP-E 2021. So about, on the one hand, publishing, and on the other hand, project funding in an open source world in the future. So let me just briefly elaborate a little bit on that. So when talking about publications first, so publications. So for me, the main question is, do we as scientists, researchers, really want to pay thousands of euros to publishing houses? Is this really in the spirit of barrier-free access to, let's say, results from research science? Or are the business models of these publishing houses old-fashioned anyway, and they will phase out, and let's say a next generation scientists like my young PhDs, they publish then in other media at GitHub or something else? So in my opinion, this is and one of the open questions, so in terms of paying money for publications. So there is a barrier for that, and maybe not in the spirit of, let's say, open access. And the second issue is this rather addresses the funding organizations. So ultimately, also the European Commission maybe, and the Horizon Europe program, or the national funding agencies. So the question is, do we need additional instruments for project funding in an open source world? Because one of the major issues is so how to avoid economic cannibalism. So from research institutes or also us universities, if we are dependent on third-party funding, if our own knowledge, our own assets, they are donated immediately to the community for free. So the major question is, are we facing here an inherent problem in an open source world that only, let's say, second-class models, data, platforms are finally delivered, open access and open source, and let's say that the top models, the Ferraris and Mercedes and so on, they still will not be open, let's say, to the community. Due to this, let's say, dilemma, so in terms of financing future, let's say, research. So maybe these two aspects could be considered. If maybe we could find a format in a launch or some launch room or launch session next year. So maybe to get a first idea if this is only my personal view or if also other scientists and researchers are concerned. So how we could also accelerate, let's say, the openness of really the top models, data and tools we have very fast. So this is just, let's say, in the sense of brainstorming, an additional aspect. So I would like to thank everybody for the contributions in the last 3 days, and for sure it will be really a challenging task for us to finally select, let's say, a dozen contributions for the special issue. So thanks a lot, and I'm looking forward to your contributions.
Thank you very much, Hans, for this very interesting topics. So I will now leave the floor to Diana and Stefan, who are going to present the results of the survey.
Great, thanks, Ingeborg. Maybe just to say that you can still submit more topics as we speak. Maybe as we go through the first question, there's question 2 and 3, which you can still submit ideas on until we get to that. Right, do you want me to start, Diana?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, so Diana and I are here as representatives of the Sentinel project, and of course we'll have the challenge of putting on this conference next year and doing as good a job as Open Entrance have done this time around. Of course, also not knowing whether or not we'll have to be online again, so we'll have to leave that decision open. Okay, so I see a couple of things here, and I see maybe a sort of potential broad overarching theme similar to the theme we had this year. So we had, of course, this year we had modeling climate neutrality for the European Green Deal, which is an incredibly broad topic. What I see here is maybe this sort of question that Hans also just mentioned. First of all, well, making models making the modeling effort more collaborative. How do we share effort? How do we accelerate collaboration models? Of course, the climate crisis isn't slowing down, so we shouldn't either. So there's this point here, and how could Horizon Europe be directed to support that more? The other broad point I see here is making energy models matter in policymaking. Of course, that's something we should all be thinking about a lot, and maybe those two topics would match up quite well, because there's a connection here between openness, transparency, collaborative efforts, and impact and policy relevance. So that might be something we can think about as a broad theme. Yeah, what else do we have here?
There are just some new ones coming in here on harmonizing pathways, understanding, more like creating a hub or nexus to discuss more together. I think there are a lot of themes coming now in, maybe not like as a central focus, but I think truly like energy demand, also the social aspects, the socioeconomic aspects. I mean, they have been part of the sessions this year already, so maybe that's just yeah, confirming the interest in exploring more what's in there.
Yeah, and I guess one of the questions is, do we want a really broad theme, or do we want to try and have a more focused theme for the conference as a whole? Yeah. Should we maybe move to actually looking at the more specific topics that people have suggested on the next?
Sure, we could do this and can always come back here and have a look later. So please, if you have further ideas, submit them. I will also have a look later to the Q&A session. So you can also go like just raise some questions. We'll have also a look at it. There are some more answers here, so that's good. But it was more specifically on topics you would like to see next year. Maybe Stefan, you want to have a look again what we got here?
Yeah, so I guess we have both methodological issues, improve collaboration, deal with uncertainty, risk and cost estimates in models. If EU countries start to prioritize eliminating poverty and global climate justice, and then we have the sort of infrastructure, fostering cross-project collaborations, infrastructure needs. That's infrastructure for the energy system. I think that's a big topic. I mean, gas, fuels, anything that goes beyond electricity, energy system integration, decentralization, standardizing model testing, shared toy models to certify energy modeling tools. I think that's also an interesting specific topic that we could spend some effort on while we're talking about sharing efforts, while we're talking about open collaboration models. Then we get to the data coordination services, open licensing, developing the European Energy Modeling Forum. Yeah, energy sufficiency within models. Well, we have a lot of potential topics to choose from here.
Yeah, there are more coming in as expected, so that's good. More ideas. Of course, that's then the challenge, right? How we bring them together. But yeah, I think this year we had some really great sessions. I think we can see like what new topics there might be in here that we have not tackled this year. So, but I think they're awesome. So that's good already.
Yeah, this is looking great. There's a broad range of things that we're certainly going to think carefully about. Should we have a look at the third question?
Sure. Let's move on. So the third was more on formats. Yeah, as we know, we don't know how the situation is next year. If you can really do have a physical event, maybe likely it will be online again, maybe not, but we are really keen to hear from you. What did you like this year and what should be there for you next year? Do you have specific formats you wish for? Please submit further answers here if you have some ideas and some wishes from your side. Maybe Stefan, you can read some out loud again. Lovely.
Well, I see someone said spatial chat was great. I can definitely second that. I think the trying to replicate some of the physical interactions that happen in a real conference by letting people move around the virtual space, and that really worked very well. So I think it's worth exploring using that even more for interactivity, for discussion rooms, for stuff like that, assuming that we're still online. So that seems like a couple of people have made that comment. And actually people are generally happy. This year's format is perfect. So very well done for this year's organizers.
Yeah. I can totally underline this. Yeah, I think it was really great. Also, like the poster session you just mentioned, I was really skeptical about it, but then how it turned out, it was really interesting. So I think that's good to explore also some new formats to try out new things. But I think, yeah, that's generally the wish, right, for, sorry, now I switched back to the other question. Yeah, for really interactive formats. It seems like even, yeah, we can think about how we can even maybe improve it even more.
Yeah. So Yeah, more discussions and more women.
Of course, I did not post it, but I think I actually quite liked it. I think we tried all our best, right, to have also some, yeah, a lot of women's like in each of the sessions, at least the ones I attended. So that was great. That's good to see.
Right. So, do we want to
Perfect.
have another look at the first question and maybe wrap this up?
Yeah, maybe have first a quick look to the questions that we got,
Yeah.
maybe in the meantime, and then the others have time. So last chance, please vote for for our questions, provide some ideas, and then we can go back to them. Oh, those are actually, do they belong to our session? Maybe not. Okay. Nope, actually not. I think they belong to another session. So we can go back,
I think the
guess.
questions to Hans's earlier comments. So maybe Hans,
Maybe.
you can follow up
right.
with Panagiotis and Juha about
Right.
this later.
Yes, but shall we do it remote then, or all right, or do we expect it right now?
I think we should. You should contact
Yeah.
each other
Yeah, of
after
course,
the
what
session.
I read here, consumer behavior is of course very important. Yeah, but we can discuss also bilaterally with Panagiotis and Juha. Yeah.
Great. Perfect. So final look. I think we did not get more replies here. Actually, it's still 10. I think it was before the same number. That's the
Anyway,
same.
you can.
Yeah.
I guess you can still add more things, and we'll definitely consider all of this after this session is over.
Sure. Okay, thanks. Great for the ideas. Keen to hear more. So please stay in touch. You can also contact us, of course, directly. We have further ideas. And yeah, we look forward to organize it next year and to have already our allies here, our experienced allies from this year. So that's great that you want to be involved again and help us also with organizing it next year. So that's good to know.
Well, thank you very much, Stefan and Diana, for this not so easy exercise, and good luck for next year organization. And you can count on our contribution to help anytime. So I will now leave the floor to Manuela Conconi and Sebastian Busch from the European Committee. So first one will be Sebastian Busch, who's representing JRC. So Sebastian, it's up to you.
Yeah, thanks, Sandrine, for the introduction and giving me the opportunity to share some reflections. Yeah, my name is Sebastian Busch, and I'm a project officer in the knowledge for the Energy Union unit of the JRC, which is the European Commission's Science and Knowledge Service. And at the JRC, energy modeling has a dual role. On the one hand, we are also developing models and using them to help support policy development. And on the other hand, like in my unit, which is a knowledge management unit, we mostly use the results from modeling to synthesize them, make sense from them, and map them to current policy initiatives to help provide scientific evidence there. Yeah, let me say, I hope that each of us enjoyed this conference as much as I did, and that we also all gained some new insights. On my side, I can say that I found very interesting this emphasis on more and more linking different sectors, but also different dimensions. I want to mention here also in particular that more and more social issues are becoming integrated in modeling tools, and this even at a much higher level of granularity. I think these developments are very timely and also relevant when we look at the policy challenges that are ahead of us and the questions that where we need modeling tools to provide evidence and answers. So as an example, I could name here all the work on the Just Transition Fund, which integrates the different dimensions of social and techno-economic aspects. Therefore, I think it may also be required to bring together tools which traditionally were more distinct tools. And this raises the question of interoperability. And this morning we had a very interesting focus group discussing these matters. In this regard, I also found interesting a discussion I was following during a poster session, where it was pointed out that more and more models are developed open source, but yet mostly as standalone tools. And the next step could be to consolidate more efforts in a smaller set of models that are co-developed by the community, which would allow us to integrate more of these needed features and also to tackle the complexity of these tools where we need stronger resources to develop these more sophisticated models. Of course, this also touches upon this whole question of incentive compatibility, which has been also referred to by Hans. How can it make sense for a PhD student to join in developing in a bigger community project rather than his, her, or her own project? And also the question of financing this and so on. Therefore, I think it would be fruitful to continue and expand on this dialogue in the follow-up of this conference, and maybe also make this one of the topics in the coming conference. And I also encourage you to share any views on that, on how the European Commission could facilitate here. Basically, this was my intervention or my reflection on the conference, a very brief one. And generally, I enjoyed it very much. I would also fully agree that you did a great job with the new tools. And I have to say, I have been in many video calls, like all of us, since we are in this new situation. But this was for me a bit another level with in terms of interactiveness and everything. So yeah, we also want to see how we can continue to use these interactive elements in the future. And I think it was also useful and good to bring together the bigger community, because so far we have often been working in our smaller project teams, and usually that time of the year we also would have had our conferences that we attend. So it was also good to catch up for the bigger community. So in closing, I would like to say a big thank you to the organizers who did a great job, to all the panelists and presenters, and everyone who made this conference happen and possible. And with that, I'll hand over to my colleague Manuela for her final remarks.
So thank you very much, Sebastian. Thank you for the thankings. So now, thank you in advance, Manuela. So Manuela, you're representing DG Engineer, and Manuela is also our project officer in Open Entrance, which is a great pleasure for us. And I think Ingeborg shares my view. So Manuela, the floor is yours.
So first of all, I want to say that this is the 4th edition of the EMP-E. So, and I've been there, well, at least for the organization, I was there since the first one. I think that the fact that we are having a 4th edition, then there will be a 5th edition for sure, it's saying something about the importance and the need for having such a conference every year. I think that last year when we were doing the closing remarks for the 2019 edition, nobody could have thought that COVID would be the central point around which we would have shaped the 2020 edition. And this, as it was said in the last session on uncertainty, that put a lot of uncertainty on this edition. So imagine how much it could bring it on the energy system as such and our daily lives. Lives. And one thing that it was mentioned by Sebastian, and I also agree, was one of my main taking from the conference this year, is how much the different dimensions that were linked together. So the social aspects, the issues on materials, smart cities, digitalization, lots of things, social and economic impacts, consumers and citizen engagement, several aspects that needs to be taken into account when we are looking at the energy system as a whole, and the efforts that need to be done to look in this way and not just in technological pillars, let's say. This one other thing that I took from the session that was on citizen and consumers, I think, and I think it was really relevant, is that not all the actors in the energy system need the same level of details, understand the same level of details when it comes to modeling. So it's important that the scientific community, apart from doing the scientific works, is also able to sell then the results with the right words to the different actors. And this is something that it's really true for policymakers, that not all of them are modelers themselves. So we need, it's important to find a way to then sell also the results that are coming from your job. And last one thing I wanted to say, I'm project officer at INEA. I'm managing Open Entrance and Sentinel project. We are really happy at INEA to see the very close collaboration that there has been among several EU-funded projects coming from different topics over different stages in their project's implementation phase, and it's really, I could say, unique. Like I don't see such a close collaboration on other topics. So I think a big thank you goes to Sandrine first, and Ingeborg and all the Open Entrance Consortium for this organization, and also to all the other projects that were involved in the organization. And then I think I will wish good luck to Sentinel for next year. And hopefully it will be a physical one, I wanted to say, but I see that many people wanted to have a virtual one, so maybe we found a new way to do the EMP-E. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Manuela. Thank you, all of you. I have a very last slide to share. So this is this one, that's on the slides. Special for thank you and for replacing the traditional photo of everyone. So we only have the speakers here because we couldn't see the other people. So this is the occasion of thanking again all the people that attended the sessions and that raised interesting issues in the subgroups and in the Slido questionnaires. All the speakers for your very high quality talks. Of course, all the organizers of sessions, all the persons who contributed, both from the projects and from the Commission. And I wanted also to thank very warmly Samin Dekrai, who you haven't seen her, but you have heard her each time there was a problem. So she's been solving everything. She hasn't slept a lot, I think, in the last 3 days. So thank you very much, and go to bed now. And I think this is time to congratulate ourselves. And if this wants to work.
Okay, so let me take also the opportunity to thank, let's say, our ladies. So here in Open Entrance, so Sandrine, Ingeborg, and Saminder. So the three ladies, they have been the masterminds ultimately of this conference. So 100% female organizers who really made the hard work and developed the good ideas. So thank you again, and this is very promising for the future.
again, everyone. It seems that I cannot hear anything.
Oh, we can hear you, Sandrine.
And bye-bye. See you next year.
Okay, bye-bye. See you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.